Alright, what's this headline here? Former Dragon Age director says EA's new owners won't censor Bioware's progressive messaging unless they want apocalyptic backlash? What the fuck are you talking about? The apocalyptic backlash came when you idiots tried the progressive messaging in the Veilguard. You f***ing idiot! What's up, Space Pirates? This is your Admiral, the ever-charming Dr. Disaster. And do you want to know what's really fun? Watching a hopelessly delusional person act as if they're something important. For example, all of the woke activists out there who have infiltrated gaming spaces are under the impression that this is what they look like when speaking to everyone else. But in reality, these days, game journalists no longer even argue that woke stuff in games is a good thing. These days, when game journalists try to protect their corporate masters and try to protect a game that's being released, they often do so by arguing that the game is not woke, because everyone knows that progressive crap is an albatross around a game's neck. So therefore, when we hear woke activists shooting their mouths, this is how they actually appear to everyone.
Oh, scary! Oh, shiver my timbers!
In the wake of the announcement that EA is now going to be owned partially by Saudi Arabia and partially by a firm run by the son-in-law of Donald Trump, there has been a lot of pissing and moaning, like this Redditor here who said,
"Well, shit. I already hated EA, but throwing the Saudis and Jared Kushner into the mix? Sure, that'll really up the loathing factor."
Oh, but baby.
Well, now it looks like a former director of Dragon Age is coming out and warning EA that if they do what we all expect them to do, which is to knock the LGBT and feminist stuff out of their games, well, he thinks that it will be apocalyptically bad. But the modern audience that Dragon Age was trying to attract with the Veilguard, they were not enough to support that game, so what exactly does he think is going to happen that will make this apocalyptically bad for EA? Once again, these people think they sound like this when they talk.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
But in reality, this is what these idiots sound like.
Look, I came here to chew bubblegum and pack boxes, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Oh my God.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've had a lot of people tell me that they have been unwillingly unsubscribed to the channel, so make sure you check on that, and also, give me a follow over on X, where my handle is Dr. Disaster 1. And if you feel like supporting the channel and helping keep the lights on, consider becoming a member for as little as $5 per month. But alright, let's take a look at what this director said about how there will be an apocalyptic backlash if Bioware removes progressive politics from its games. Now, when I saw the headline to this article, I expected it to actually be the Gendermancer that was telling us this. If any of you don't recall, Dragon Age the Veilguard was directed by this person here, a self-proclaimed queerosexual gendermancer who was removed from the company a few months after the launch of the Veilguard and its massive failure. But it turns out that it was the director of Dragon Age Origins who said this crap. This article here is from The Gamer, one of the premier mouthpieces of shitlib activists in gaming spaces these days. Anyhow, the article says, the $55 billion acquisition of Electronic Arts by a consortium including Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Jared Kushner's Affinity Partners, and Silver Lake has been causing a stir among fans of the various series owned by EA. Now, if you're talking about the few people who bothered to buy the last few Bioware games, then yes, you're right. Those people are probably concerned. But as for the rest of the world, we are snickering at the prospect of these people being told to stop their activism and losing their jobs. Even if this buyout ends as a catastrophe, and it very well might, those of us who hate where Bioware is these days, we don't care. The studio is already ruined for us. But reading on, the article says next, fans of EA-owned Bioware are concerned about the involvement of PIF due to the prevalence of progressive messaging in the studio series, which people fear may be under threat. Homosexuality is illegal in Saudi Arabia, with the country's laws allowing the use of the death penalty for individuals engaging in homosexual acts. Sure, now they admit that this is the case. Prior to their lives being affected, if you talk to these same people about the Middle East, they would tell you that Islam is the religion of peace, and they would chant Free Palestine and crap like that, but now they admit that at least one Middle Eastern country might not be the bastion of progressivism that they pretended it was. It's noteworthy that Dragon Age the Veilguard was actually banned in Saudi Arabia. But here the article says, in a recent video about the acquisition, former Dragon Age director Mark Dara pondered the future of Bioware and the studio's messaging going forward. If this is a PR move for the Saudi government as much as it is a financial one, the studios that don't have much of a track record, what you might do is just come in and put your thumb on the scale and push their messaging in the directions you want, or at the very least, steer them away from messaging that makes you look bad, Dara says. But for the studios that have more of a track record, especially a track record that maybe doesn't line up with your political views, again, Bioware, you're going to look at that studio and wonder how you make them fit into your new structure, he continues. It's hard to imagine that you have Bioware pivot from having very progressive messaging to having the reverse because it's what the government wants. It's hard to imagine that the public perception of a game that comes out of Bioware, even if you do that, isn't apocalyptically bad, Dara explains. Okay, so this guy is warning that perception might be apocalyptically bad, and by extension I assume that he means to warn that sales would be bad for the next Bioware game, but allow me to point out the obvious. The last game was a massive flop, you moron. The people that you were trying to appeal to did not come out and support your game. The Veilguard sold fewer copies than its predecessors by a count of many, many millions. You turned all the gaming crowd away from this beloved franchise. The apocalyptically bad scenario that this moron has described already freaking happened. I mean, if this is a threat that the modern audience isn't going to show up for the next Bioware game after this buyout, it is laughably toothless. They already don't show up. But allow me to show you what the actual future looks like for the progressive activists in this studio. This headline here comes from an article from Games Radar, and that is another outlet that is well known for being progressive and activisty, but even they have to admit that shit is about to hit the fan for the likes of Bioware. It says, EA tells employees worried about layoffs after $55 billion buyout that there will be no immediate changes to your jobs. And I think immediate is the key word here. And yes, in my personal experience, after hearing an announcement like this from new management of a company, it is likely that sometime in the next year is when we will see the first announcement from EA that says something along the lines of, "We regret to inform you that layoffs are coming." Too many of the IPs at EA, most notably the ones being run by Bioware, but too many of them have been hijacked by left-wing activists who want to turn everything into a statement on how we all should view life. Well, that is not compatible with a for-profit business that spends hundreds of millions of dollars on development costs. If you wanted to start your own indie company that spends a fraction of that, running on startup money or something, and you wanted to push your gender ideology and something like that, then you could maybe pull that off. But when you need to make back hundreds of millions of dollars in investment, it turns out that you need as many sales as you can get, so picking a side in a culture war is not a good idea. And now, to be perfectly clear, the apocalyptic backlash that this guy is talking about, it would happen, but it wouldn't happen from the fans. It wouldn't come from paying customers. If Bioware went back to making normal games, then the vast majority of people would potentially return to those franchises. But the backlash would come from the game journalists and from activists like this director himself. They would piss and moan and let us know how much they hate it. But what they fail to understand is just how much we enjoy listening to them whine. Ultimately, we are being threatened with a good time. But I'm going to leave it there. Drop your derision of these delusional people into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.